All right, so for the sake of time, we are going to be jumping into it. My name is Glenna Croy, and I'm the Acceleration Program Manager here at Lighthouse Labs. So we're here to talk to you about our spring 2023 cohort that's coming up around the bend. And we will have opportunities for Q&A at the end of the program. So any questions you have, save them for there, but we'll get going. So today we're going to cover Paul, our Executive Managing Director, is going to kind of give you a little intro to Lighthouse Labs, our founders, and Richmond as a whole. We have one of our most recent alumni here to discuss his experience. We have VCU Health here to talk about our healthcare vertical, and then I will go into the nuts and bolts of the program. So from there, I am going to pass it over to Paul.
Great. Thanks, Glenna, and welcome everybody to our final informational session in advance of our spring 2023 cohort. Appreciate y'all joining. I saw someone from Barcelona, so that's pretty cool. I was just there this summer, so beautiful city. But, you know, a lot of our founders, as you can see on the screen, we'll characterize Lighthouse as the stepping stone for them in their company. And, you know, the stepping stone to what? Well, I think that's it's kind of a multifaceted, I guess, statement. One is, you know, what are you wanting to achieve by coming through an accelerator, whether it's Lighthouse or not? But, you know, what are you looking to do? What's that inflection point that you're seeking to hit by going through an accelerator versus just keeping your heads down and building the company? Because accelerators definitely help companies scale, but they're also not for everybody. So what is it about an accelerator for you that you want to get out of it? For us, our stepping stone is helping to position y'all in the best way possible to be in front of funders, investors, whether it's angel investors or your first institutional round of funds. But that is a big piece of this. Now, obviously, there are many things that go into that. So we have other stepping stones that create the program, but we are really focused at helping accelerate pre-seed and seed stage venture companies. So we've been around 10 years, and we're very proud of the metrics that you see on the screen. I won't go through each of them, but these are numbers that continue to tick up and that we focus on when we're looking at our cohort makeup and how we really assess ourselves at the end of the day. I want to pull out a couple. We are very, very proud, and I'd say unique to a lot of other accelerators in the region about how diverse our founder group is. We have a very diverse founder group, and also a very diverse group of companies that we serve from a vertical or industry perspective. It goes without saying, the more diverse your company is in terms of the healthcare, the industry verticals, as well as the founders, the more success you're going to have. So we really strive to take the most diverse founders. We are agnostic to the industry that we serve. And so we'll take companies from any vertical. Having said that, and you'll hear about this later, we do have a kind of what I would say carve out that is focused on healthcare. And you'll hear from our partners later on that. But we are very proud of how diverse our groups are. As I mentioned earlier, one of our stepping stones that we measure ourselves on is how are we positioning you in front of investors? These are just a very few of the funds that we partner with that lean in to our companies. We have a growing list, ever-growing list of now, I think it's close to maybe 65 funds. We also have a robust angel and investor list that we are constantly curating. We are keen on positioning y'all that to meet their preferred investment thesis. And I would say that especially with our most recent cohort, everybody coming in, I believe, had raised at least an angel round or had some type of money in the company before coming to Lighthouse. And we just accelerated that, putting them in front of other investors. So we are very proud of where we live. We are an accelerator that embraces companies from all over the country. We believe that levels up the playing field, but at the same time, we are biased to Virginia. We started here. We've had a focus here since we started. And so we do like to highlight why we feel, but also others feel, that Virginia is a great place to do business. And whether it's headquartering your company here or growing your company here, it is something that we certainly look for. And for our alumni, there are a lot of funding opportunities, grant funding opportunities beyond Lighthouse that can help you grow your company, but you would have to be based in Virginia. Having said that, though, I want to make it very clear, we do look at companies from all over the country. This is a key slide. I just want to talk about, okay, how, what's the type of company we look for at Lighthouse. And what we've done is essentially, so I come from the venture capital side, have a fund. So I basically took, how we look at seed and pre-seed stage companies from a fund, from an investor standpoint, and kind of overlaid those metrics to Lighthouse in our screening. So we really, first and foremost, want to invest in. When I say invest, I mean our time and our effort. But we want to take in founders who are humbly confident, who have executive function, know how to build a team, have that it factor. And while we are biased to co-founded companies, almost all of our cohorts had several single or solo founders in them, and the success of those are just as much as companies that are co-founded. It gets down to the person or people. So team is everything. Now, the second one is you got to be playing in a big market. The market opportunity, I should say, needs to be big versus the market. You can have a big market opportunity, but still a market where you could come in and have an outsized growth in. So I think the market opportunity is a second piece of this that we look for. The third being our kind of your product or service. We're really looking for companies that are beyond that MVP stage. You have something in the market, you are testing it to hopefully find that product market fit. Either you've already proven that there's product market fit and you're now looking to refine your business model. Think of Lighthouse as kind of an accelerator where we help you refine things. We help you refine maybe your sales process. We help you refine your financial model. We refine your value proposition versus building it alongside you. We kind of expect that to be built in some small way before you get here. So if you are at that MVP stage, not a problem. We are partnered with some other pre-accelerators around the state. And what I tell companies, if you are coming in and you present a little bit too early, we also keep a strong list of not yet companies that we want to see reapply. But this is really what we're looking for. So instead of hearing me, I think it's the best to hear it from somebody who literally just went through this. And I got to say, this particular company and this founder has all the attributes that I just talked about. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Thomas Sherman, who can tell us more about his experience in this most recent cohort. I think he graduated from it just several weeks ago. So Thomas, take it away.
Great. Thank you, Paul. Yeah, so Lighthouse is awesome. I got a ton out of it. So my company, Circle Solutions, very broadly, what we do is we predict the weather better, and then we sell improved weather data to utilities and groups in the energy market to basically help their operations. So we're a data as a service company. when I entered Lighthouse, we'd kind of proved product market fit, just started getting some traction. But me and my co-founder, we're both technical founders. This is our first business, so we needed a lot of help, like kind of outside the technical realm. Like, okay, how do you actually grow like a product into a business? And I think Lighthouse did a really good job with that. And so really what I was looking for was to mature my sales and marketing cycles, or processes. And there was all kinds of programming and different mentors and connections that Lighthouse put me in touch with to help that process. And I like to say I got the Lighthouse bump. So over the course of the cohort, I ended up doubling my sales. I mean, we're early in the cycle, but it definitely did help in terms of like tracking what I'm doing and kind of organizing my thoughts. So I guess generally, I wrote down a few notes that I'm just gonna kind of read. One, it put you in connection with all kinds of different people. So Lighthouse has programming, and then also just people you meet through the Lighthouse community will put you in touch with different mentors and groups like that. But like I said, I was really focused on the technical things, but I saw like the CFO side, the marketing and sales side, the CTO side, CEOs, angels and VCs. So it really pointed out where I was weak and or maybe where I was ignoring and neglecting. And not that I fixed all my business, but I'm at least now aware of where I need to improve, which is really helpful, especially going forward. At the end of the cohort, we had an in-week or 2 weeks in person. So we got to really bond with the other companies in the group. And I can say since leaving Lighthouse, like every week I've had at least like 3 meetings with either VCs I've met from Lighthouse, other members of the cohort, just to kind of discuss things. Like yesterday, one of the people I met at the investor dinner at the end of the program, he wanted to get coffee. So we had a really nice discussion, and he was kind of helping me mature my business and point out like where I could improve. So just like that network that Lighthouse gets you through the programming and then explicit introductions was very valuable for me, and just making me aware of where I need to improve. The other companies, so you're in this together with your cohort, that's a bonding experience. I feel like a lot of times, like people who are outside or just like general mentors, sometimes they forget what it's like to actually be like in the heart of it. And so just having other people to lean on was really helpful. I think the cohort meshed really well. And like I said, like last week, somebody called me and wanted to ask how I did something. So it's definitely like an open community, and we're still all in touch. The VC network, super valuable. During the course of the cohort, Lighthouse does a really good job of putting you in touch with VCs. And then at the end, you have this investor dinner where there's all kinds of VCs and you pitch to them. So after that event, I got all kinds of maybe 5 to 10 VCs reach out to me. Let's talk further. So from a fundraising point of view, I know that's a big goal of Lighthouse. They put you in a position to succeed. Lead mentor. So in the beginning of the cohort, they match you with a lead mentor to kind of help you guide you through the process. And so Steve Parker was my lead mentor. He was amazing. He had done a very similar, or had been in, he was kind of technical, had been in a similar position as me. So we had a lot of discussions about, where I could improve and kind of next steps. I'm still in touch with him. Like Glenna can tell you, we were at this networking event, and literally we're supposed to meet all kinds of other people, and me and Steve were just talking for like an hour and a half straight, and Glenna was like, you guys should go talk to other people. So from that point of view, like having someone kind of have your back and who you can be really open with was super helpful for me. I'm trying to think what else.
Thomas, sorry, I know it comes up often. I know you have a co-founder. How did you feel about your ability to like juggle the program while running a business at the same time?
Yeah, so I have a co-founder, and how we did it is I basically did the Lighthouse portion. He kind of kept things going. There is a lot of programming, but I would say it's really helpful. So it was definitely an exhausting, is it 12 weeks or whatever it is, but super manageable to keep running the business. So there wasn't really any, like I said, I doubled my sales during the cohort. So while exhausting and stressful at times, definitely worth doing. I'm trying to think what else. Got an intern out of it, which was awesome. There's if you're a Virginia company, there's all kinds of additional funding opportunities through different organizations that Lighthouse is partnered with. There's discounts on things like Amazon Web. So my company uses AWS to run our cloud infrastructure. We got credits from Lighthouse, which is nice. The $20,000 is awesome. I don't know any other accelerators that pay you to go to the accelerator. I feel like they usually take equity from you. So it really, up to this point, no strings attached. They are who they say they are.
I promise no strings are coming for you, Thomas. You're good. And also, not to humble brag for yourself, but you were also the Sharks favorite and the winner of Demo Day. So huge growth improvement. I know pitching was like something that you really grew into. So I think that was a huge part of it as well.
Yeah, definitely. And that's like for Demo Day and the investor dinner, like Steve, my lead mentor, he prepared with me. You prepare as a group. So you get a lot better at lots of different things.
Awesome. Cool. Paul, do you have anything else for Thomas, or should we keep going?
No, I think, Thomas, you said it all. Appreciate it. And what I want to stress that maybe I haven't is, this call is focused on the in-cohort kind of aspect of Lighthouse, but we have a whole alumni network that we've built up over the past 10 years of 96 plus companies. Reaching in on 100 that we are also continually refining and enhancing and optimizing that network so that we don't just kind of say, okay, bye, had fun. We really want to make sure that we can help you even beyond your acceleration. So, but no, appreciate it, Thomas, and I think we can move on.
And I'm going to put my email in the chat. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to email me.
Great, thank you. Well, talking about kind of our network, our alumni network, we also have a very robust network of strategic partners. You'll see some Fortune 50s on here. You'll see some more local logos on here, but really this represents the breadth and depth of the type of services and products that we have availability with through our accelerator. There's some of these partners will come in and help with our programming. Some of them will invite us in for lunch. Some will serve as channel partners for your company. It just really depends. But we have, this list is growing, ever growing, cohort over cohort. And so I think this slide, just again, kind of like our investor slide, it's part of this ecosystem that surrounds Lighthouse Labs and makes us who we are. So want to turn this over now to one of those strategic partners who is arguably one of our closest strategic partners, and without them, we wouldn't be able to do our healthcare vertical. We have partnered with VCU Health for a number of years and continue to enjoy that partnership. But I'll let them tell you about themselves, and I'll turn it over now to Dom.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul. Thanks a lot. I appreciate the time. It's always humbling to see VCU Health among the roster of other organizations and companies on the partnership network. Just a little bit about myself. Paul introduced me. I'm Dominic Costanzo. I'm an innovation and business development manager with VCU Health. I've been there for actually a little under a year, although it feels like I've been with VCU Health for a bit longer. I came from the VCU side of things, where I was in the Office of Research and Innovation for about 6 years. 2 of those years, my work really was focused on healthcare within VCU Health. But enough about me. A little bit about VCU Health System, just to give you a lay of the landscape. We're a large academic medical center in Richmond, Virginia. We've got a pretty big footprint. The main medical center. We've got a full service children's hospital, a community health center, 1 college, 4 health science schools. We have over 800 physicians practicing across 200 specialties. So we, like I said, we have a pretty big footprint in Central Virginia. Innovation is really core to our mission at VCU Health. And we recognize that while we have a great research enterprise with some amazing technology that comes, out of VCU and VCU Health, if we want to achieve our goals, we've got to look beyond our 4 walls, which is why we're, particularly excited about the relationship and partnership that we've built with Lighthouse Labs from a perspective of being able to access, a tremendous source of innovation and early stage companies that are building solutions that, have the potential, if they're in the healthcare space, to really align with our strategic goals and potentially impact our our health system. Paul mentioned early on in this call that refinement is one of the characteristics of the accelerator program. Just to maybe give you a sense of how we engage, because we are an active participant and an active sponsor in this program. We really lean into providing access to our internal network of clinical and administrative leaders. We'll really be a consistent connection point to the health system through your participation in this program. And hopefully, because we have longer term goals, it really lays the foundation for a longer term, potential longer term partnership from a perspective of business development and, really being a potential customer. I can, talk a bit more about what we're looking for, but maybe we'll leave that to the Q&A. If we don't get a chance to connect on this call, I'll drop my contact information in the chat, and you can reach out to me directly, and we can have a conversation that way. But anyways, I appreciate the time. I'm very excited about this upcoming spring cohort, and hopefully we'll get a chance to meet.
Great, thanks, Don. Really appreciate it. All right, Glenna, I'll turn it over to you for details for the spring.
Awesome. So I'm just going to go over some of the nuts and bolts of kind of upcoming deadlines and what to expect throughout. So December 16th, so I guess next Friday, our applications close, and the deadline is at noon Eastern time, just to make sure you guys are aware of that. From mid-December through January, we'll be doing our internal review. So we'll be kind of going through all the applications. We generally will have anywhere from 160 to 200 applications to go through. From there, January 25th, we'll be having our interviews, and they are virtual over Zoom. So that's a morning interview process. And then we'd be letting you know promptly from that point on. We generally will have 6 to 8 companies selected, so down from 200. So it's obviously a kind of huge accolade to get to that point. But we are a hybrid program. And actually, we've switched it up from when Thomas did it, but we have 9 weeks virtual. We are having 2 weeks in person, but 1 week will be in person the first week, as well as 1 at the last week. And kind of to Thomas's point of the connection with your cohort members are such a key and crucial part of what you get out of the cohort. So we're trying to make sure you get that week early on where you're really able to build those connections with the Lighthouse teams, partners, investors, as well as the other cohort members. We have weekly program sessions, and each week we're going to have kind of a different focus: human capital, market positioning, finance, fundraising, scaling, as well as marketing. So we're trying to cover a lot of bases as we move forward. Each company will have one-on-one meetings with the managing director, just check in, engage, see what supports you need throughout the process. We'll have mentor engagement throughout. So as Thomas mentioned, you have your lead mentor, so they will be doing weekly check-ins with you, and any kind of outside of that, any extra follow-up support that you may need. You will also have access to our general mentor pool. So we'll set up kind of mentor meetings for you throughout, but also we'll give you kind of access to over 150 people with a varied skill sets that can support you in different issues or things that you're really trying to work through. We also have office hours with legal, sales, marketing, financial modeling. So really trying to cover all bases to support you. You'll have outcomes presentations throughout the program. So just checkpoints that will kind of give you the details on how you're progressing and proceeding through the program. And then we have demo day at the end of the program. So the last week will be May 24th, but that's kind of the main nuts and bolts details of what we will be doing and what to expect. So other than that, we are happy to open it up to questions. If you have questions for Paul and myself, Thomas, or Dom from the health vertical standpoint, feel free to unmute and ask.
Hi, are you guys looking specifically for technology-driven companies?
Great question. So I would say not necessarily. I mean, certainly the preponderance of our companies are tech-centric, but we have, I think in most cohorts have like a CPG company. So no, the short answer is no. We are looking for the companies that have the highest potential for scale, and that will require outside capital, venture capital at some point to achieve that scale and hit a monetization event for the investors. So, doesn't have to be tech centric.
Hello, real quick, I'm Dadi Mansouri. My first question is, I understand, Paul, you mentioned that you do invest in solo founder, but do you invest in solo founders that are non-technical but do have a traction, I should say?
Yeah, it's a great question. So yes, we do. I mean, I think it's our job to kind of weigh those types of considerations. So if we have a solo founder, but someone who has successfully grown the company to where it is today and the traction is impressive, then yes, I mean, we wouldn't hesitate to consider that company. I think it's kind of where are the strengths, and kind of what catches your eye as a screener. The way we screen companies is multifaceted. So, I will take a first cut at the top of the funnel. And then we have a group of online application screeners comprising of investors and ecosystem supporters and founders. So they will take a second cut. And then we have a third group or another group of people who then conduct interviews by Zoom for the group that's remaining. And out of that group, we select the 6 to 8 companies that'll come in. Hopefully that helps.
Yes, sir. And my second question is, you also mentioned that you want the market to be big, but do you guys focus on a niche market that has the potential to grow and things like that?
Yeah, again, another great question. I think I'm going to take Thomas as an example. I mean, yes, we will look at niche markets that are in bigger markets. What I mean by big market opportunity versus a big market is the following. You might be in a multi-billion-dollar market, but if that market is declining, it's probably not a good thing, versus a smaller niche market that is year over year increasing at a huge rate and could be in the billions, in a couple of years. That's a whole different dynamic. So I think focus on really what is your ability to in whatever market you're playing, whether it's niche or not, what's your ability to scale within that market and really gain kind of a command and control in that market.
Thank you.
I had a question. We are a clothing retailer. Would we be in a good position to apply? Would that be something that we would be a good candidate for?
Yeah, I think I want to say, so I don't want to discourage anybody not to apply. What I would say is, yes, but making sure that, for instance, I'll give you another example. A couple, I guess now 3 cohorts ago, we had a company come through that was also a clothing company, but they were adaptive clothing for individuals that were handicapped, whether it's through loss of a limb or some other, maybe they're in a wheelchair. And so that was a very compelling value proposition for us. And that company ended up going on Shark Tank and getting after us and getting investments from Mark Cuban and some others, and they've been scaling. Actually just moved to Richmond. So what is it about your clothing line that's kind of so innovative or different? And I think that's what we would look at.
We're more of a clothing retailer / brand, so I don't know.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so not really. We're not a clothing line. We're a retailer.
Sure. Well, you did say brand, so I would focus on the brand aspect of
Okay.
it. So, you look at Yeti, right? I mean, who wouldn't have wanted to invest in Yeti, back when they were just a tumbler. So I think it just depends on how you look at how you articulate the brand and why it's so compelling. So I would still encourage you to apply. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Kirsten, I hope I pronounced that right. You've had your hand up, so.
Yes, thank you, Paul. Yes, that's actually the way to pronounce it, but I answer to a lot of things. So yeah, thank you so much to Lighthouse Labs for this great opportunity, and best wishes to everybody. I had wanted to ask Dom to please elaborate, as you had mentioned, a little bit more on what you are looking for the healthcare vertical, and also how you and your VCU colleagues are involved during the accelerator program.
Sure,
Thanks so
great
much.
question. Yeah, so we're obviously interested in solutions that can impact the quadruple aim. We're particularly interested in solutions that fall within the digital health category. So we're not actively considering opportunities within the medical device space, as an example, or pharmaceutical space. So digital health is really the bucket that we're looking at. And if we kind of peel back the layer a little bit further, solutions that impact care delivery. So an example of that could be remote patient monitoring, as an example. So that, I guess, can give you a sense of kind of where our heads are at and what we're looking for. I don't even mind me asking what I'm assuming you're founder of a company, what your company does.
Yes, well, we are actually right in that space. So
Okay.
we've built a collaborative software platform and app that equips the practitioners in healthcare and social services, and also empowers the patient. So it's very much of a patient engagement solution that goes far beyond the current portals, but actually fits into the workflow and connects to EHRs.
Got it. The second part of your question, I believe, was how we interact with the companies participating through the program, how myself, my colleagues. So you'll essentially, if you were participating, the company would be assigned, someone on our team throughout the course of the program, kind of like a project manager or advisor. And we would really be the connection point into the health system. And then depending on what the goals of the company through the program are, we'll kind of tailor our approach to be in line with those goals. What I will mention is, we very much view the partnership with Lighthouse Labs and the program as really building a foundation for what could be a longer term partnership. So just because the program wraps in May or June, I'm not exactly sure what the exact end date is, if it's clear that there's the potential for longer term engagement, where VCU Health could serve as a potential customer, that doesn't have to be executed within the start and end date of the program. And so I don't say that to excuse any urgency that companies we have a sense of urgency, but we don't necessarily want to have to execute a partnership deal within 2 to 3 months. And so yeah, it's hard to really kind of get into the weeds on how we'll work with companies, but I will just, you know, kind of put a exclamation on the point that like we work very closely with the companies and we will tailor our approach to what the goals of the company are. So
Yeah,
happy
and
to have a sidebar conversation
Dom,
too if you want to reach out directly.
to jump in
Thank
on
you.
that,
That
Dom,
sounds wonderful.
I wanted to toot your own horn for sure, but the VCU Health like innovation team is definitely a huge support throughout the program. They offer advice, connections, as well as additional healthcare specific programming. So they're definitely, like Dom said, hands-on, engaged, and there is definitely as Dom said, makes clear, it's not like you come in with the guarantee of like a pilot sort of situation with VCU Health. Obviously, that'd be an amazing long-term goal, but it's definitely not like a guarantee of the program.
Sure, of course, I understand. And yeah, we're very focused on helping improve patient outcomes and reducing healthcare costs. So thank you and best wishes to everybody in the application process.
Thanks, Kirsten. All right. The next one, I believe Hiran. Forgive me if I mispronounced that.
That's okay. Yeah, it's Heron. My question is, in terms of the programming, I know you mentioned there's a bit more of the workshops that happen the first 2 or 3 weeks, and then the number of hours will go down as the program continues. Could you share if it's mandatory to attend all sessions, or does the founder pick the areas that they need help in and then opt into those specific workshops?
Yeah,
I'm so glad you are
Yeah,
actually.
that's a great question.
Maybe I'll just jump right in. I'm so glad you asked that question. That is a very, very important question. So we really, because of what the time that we put into this accelerator and our partners put into it, and because of the value that hopefully you will get out of it, we do require that you attend each session. So whether it's our accelerator or another accelerator, you really want to give some thought as to, and this kind of goes back to my first comments, what's that next step? What's that stepping stone? What's that inflection point? Do you have the time to commit to the accelerator? Because it is a, I would say, distraction in some ways from the day-to-day business of running your company. It's a good distraction, but it is a distraction and it can be tough. But we really do expect, when you get selected, because our selection is so tight, that you do attend all of the sessions. Now, obviously, if you've got the biggest sales call of your career thus far with the company and you can't make something, we're not gonna say no, you can't do that. I mean, we are flexible, we are willing to work with you, but we do expect you to go in with with making the best effort to attend everything. So hopefully that helps. And Glenn, I don't know if you want to add anything or if I said
Yeah, I wanted to add specifically the in-person weeks, so that are kind of bookending the programs. That is definitely mandatory in terms of you have to be in Richmond, you have to come and stay and attend everything there as well in person. And that's definitely going to be kind of the two most time intensive asks of the program. The 9 weeks that are virtual, yes, definitely the programming is mandatory, but it is definitely, like Paul said, it's thought through to advance your company. That's the whole goal of doing it. It's not just there to make you sit through it, but it is a lighter lift. I mean, I would say no more than, 10, maybe 10 hours a week max, other than those first weeks. So it's not a ridiculous lift for you guys. We do encourage, like Thomas had said, splitting things between co-founders makes life much easier. If you are a solo founder, it's doable, but it's definitely a lot more work.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you. And my other question is for Dom. In terms of the verticals or focus areas, I know you mentioned at least one before, but if the startup is focused on preventative health or more behavioral health, would that still be a good fit, or are you looking more for, health topics that are related to chronic conditions?
I think so long as it's a great question. I'd say we definitely lean more towards management of chronic care conditions, but if it's a if it falls within the preventative health bucket, so long as there is kind of application within VCU Health, like so long as it's within a space that we are a provider to some degree, then we will certainly be interested to learn more. But I don't know if that answers your question or not.
Yeah, that's helpful to see if there's a match maybe within a unit that focuses and aligns with it.
Yeah, it's gotta be one of our service lines. But yeah, we're definitely weighted more towards management of chronic conditions. But anyways, but yeah, I think happy to be a little bit more specific if you want to send me some information and I can let you know.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's see. Rachel.
Hi, everybody. My name is Rachel. I'm based in Napa, California, and I have kind of a two-pronged question about sustainability. I see that's one of the verticals that, is kind of bucketed as a focus of this program. So my first question is just wondering if you can elaborate a little bit on if there's any kind of specific aspect of sustainability or if it's, health, et cetera. We're a travel company, a web platform. And that's why I asked that first question. And then my second question is, I saw that you had Limitless as one of your cohort companies, which is awesome. And they obviously are a company that, has impact metrics as part of their value proposition. We do also, and we're really looking at joining a program to help us storytell about that and also meld that with the storytelling about profitability, which we found to be a little bit, kind of a dichotomy. You're either, impact or you're out there to make profit. And we really want to meld those two in our storytelling and in our growth because we found it really resonates with our customer base and it really pushes us and our mission forward. So I'm wondering if you have specific mentors or any kind of programming that you've done in the past that could help with that, or a company that's looking for that kind of melding.
Absolutely, Rachel. So we do not, as of today, bill ourselves as a kind of impact, and we don't have an impact investment kind of lens to the accelerator. The companies that we deal with that are in the sustainability space are more, well, like Thomas's company, for instance. You would get more kind of general acceleration, I guess, programming. That being said, I will also say that, is that something that down the road we might be more intentional about? Probably, just given, looking at kind of where the world's headed, but also I would encourage you to look at Halcyon House as well. This is an impact investment accelerator, or impact accelerator that's in Georgetown, DC, and it is a very well-known impact accelerator. So I would love to tell you otherwise, but they probably are what you are looking for more specifically. But I don't want to dissuade you from applying, because as more and more companies apply that have that kind of impact lens to it, that specific impact lens with specific metrics that are tracked, I could easily make a case that we can only get there the more that companies like you apply. And I actually teach impact investing at a university, so I'm very familiar with that landscape and would love to see more impact-driven companies come through.
Great. Yeah, thanks. It's really melding the profit with the impact, which we see as totally possible and doable. So we're looking at, going forward with both of those. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. Let's see. Alexi.
Yeah, hi. I have a question. I'm Alexis Hutchin. I'm a founder and CEO of MedicSpace. We developed a software. It's a digital virtual human board for cancer patients, for reviewing cancer patients' cases in a geographically distributed healthcare system. So I think we probably have one of the biggest implementations in the world. Currently, we process about 3,000 cancer patients per week. But I have a complicated background. So that implementation is done in Russia. Originally, I started the company back in Russia. I have relocated to Amsterdam about a year ago. I relocated the company. I've been living in Amsterdam for 10 years. So I've been through some accelerator programs, and we identified United States as a good market, beachhead market. So I opened a company in Delaware, and my question is, shall I apply? So you mentioned that you mostly work with companies from Virginia, and some companies from the United States, from other states. So in my situation, do you think I should apply?
Yeah, we're not yet really at a point where we're accelerating companies that are internationally domiciled. I mean, if you had like a really strong presence kind of in the US or have or will be in the US because you are starting an outpost here or a new office here, I think that's one thing. It has nothing to do with because you were international. I love that. The bigger issue is our mentor base and our strategic partners and how we actually, some of the investors that we have, the syndicate, it just aligns for a domestic program. So I don't know if that helps at all, but I'm not giving you a straight answer, I realize, but I think if there isn't that US presence, I think it just makes it really tough.
We have just opened the company, but it's in Delaware. It's Delaware C Corp. In the process of transferring IP, and as I said, that we hope to have a first pilot this year. But again, I wouldn't say that we already have implementations in that.
Sure.
But yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing, maybe what I would recommend, and again, thinking of your time being valuable and having to fill out that application, I would say if you were to come back and apply after that pilot, after you've done that pilot or while you're in it, and after you've gotten more of a foothold domestically, I think then my answer would be a whole lot different. It would say absolutely apply. I just think it would be a pretty long shot, and I don't want to do that to you and have you say sure apply, but have you kind of waste that time. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. I mean, I do have alternative there. Accelerated programs which work with specifically international companies. So that was very helpful.
Yeah, great. I appreciate the question. Let's see. I want to make sure we get to people who haven't asked questions yet. So, and again, my apologies on mispronouncing Ujwala.
Perfect, you got it.
Great.
Hi, Paul. Hi, Glenna. Everyone, my name is Ujwala, and my co-founder Rupesh is in this call as well. So my question is similar to Alexi's. Interestingly enough, like Rupesh, who's our co-founder at Artilligent, which is a conversational AI company that works specifically with robotic solutions and robot companies. So Rupesh has been the CEO of Artilligent India for the past 4 years. He recently moved to the US. We're starting another company, but just because that brand has been built, we're calling it the same thing. So we're sort of extending the company. We're still in the process of incorporation. So I guess my two questions are, given the traction that we have with Artilligent India, and we have some paying clients in the US as well, should we, in our application, maybe list some of that traction? So that's sort of the first question. The second question is, we're still in the process of incorporation. Is that mandatory for us to apply?
Yeah, so definitely, I'd say play up that traction piece, be as clear on that domestic traction as possible. In terms of what I would say is we need you to be incorporated by the time that you would be in the program. I think that, so yes, I mean, I think that would be helpful.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Let's see. Z or Zay.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. So yeah, hello Paul and Glenna. So yeah, we actually have 3 co-founders in our team, and I'm just unfortunately just in Canada and in Vancouver, and other 2 co-founders in the United States, and we haven't found a company yet. So my 2 questions first is like, do you have any services to help us to found the company or go through that process before, if we got a chance to have the go through the how to say the interview, but before the cohort happened. And second question is like how gonna happen to just like how about the working visa for me to get into the United States? Is there any help for that part? Yeah.
Yeah, so unfortunately on the second question, we don't have any where I'm able to really help solve for that for the work visa.
Okay.
On the first question, we're really looking for companies that are, already kind of established or at least, organized, and then have been in business and are actually, selling their product or piloting their product or service. So I'd say you're probably too early right now, but as I said with Alexi, maybe in the next, after the next cohort, you might want to consider coming back and applying to that.
Okay, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Ahmad.
Hi, everyone. So sorry, I unfortunately didn't get a chance to look at the screen. I was just had the audio. Do you guys also support hardware companies? We are started working on automated, like smart, like pet products. Is that something you could support?
Yes, I would say, again, it's kind of like the previous question from Edgewood Outfitters. We're looking for really innovative, compelling solutions to real world problems that have a high propensity to scale and have identified that product market fit to some extent. So I would absolutely say apply.
Yeah, thank you. And from the different stages that we have, like for a hardware company, from like prototyping up to like, I don't know, like beta testing or pre-production, like pilot production, where is the stage that's a good time to apply?
Yeah, so I think it would be, so we would look at it more from okay, if you are now raising, so let's say your company's already taken some angel investment, so you're beyond the friends and family kind of space, that helped maybe get you to your MVP or kind of in your MVP now, and then you take angel, so maybe your first round of angel capital, and that's getting you or has gotten you through your MVP. Now you're looking at, okay, we need to raise another round of angel investment or our first kind of pre-seed or seed round where we actually might have a de facto fund willing to come in. I think that's kind of how we look at it. So it just depends on how kind of where you are in your fundraising cycle, and that may be something where, I mean, we don't define traction specifically or necessarily in revenue. Revenue is kind of obviously an easy way to tell traction, and that's certainly what most people would look at. But you could have something that is in pre-production or a demo that has investment in it, and going through Lighthouse gets you kind of your reference customer that can then position you more favorably for an early stage funder. So does that help?
No, absolutely. Thank you very much for the explanation. No, thank you.
Absolutely. All right. And my apologies again. Dede, is that correct?
Dottie.
Sorry about that, Dottie.
Good. So first question that you mentioned earlier, was it No Limit by Erica Cole? The one that focused on disability that went through your program?
You got it.
She actually went to my school and we were in the same program.
Great.
Just want to make a note of that.
Great.
Second question. Yes, it was. Yeah, she's a wonderful young woman. Second question. The 2 weeks that we are needing to be at the program, right? The first 2 weeks in Virginia, will the program help us with like places, like for those that are coming out of state, if we were to make it, would the program help us with a place, or is that something we have to figure out? If so, are there perhaps resources or like that we can turn to, that can help with stuff like that if we were to make it into the program?
Yes, Glenn, I'll let you answer that one because I know that you kind of spearhead that.
Yeah, so every co-founder or founder is responsible for their own stay and transportation while they are in Richmond. That being said, we provide recommendations, areas, things like that. We usually try and get some sort of partnership deal with Richmond tourism to maybe get like a discount at a hotel or things like that. So we do try and work with you to support it, but it is the founder's responsibility to kind of get it all put together and pay and all that.
Okay, and that will be something they will pay in advance. That won't be coming from the funding that the program will award, correct? That's
So,
just.
So I guess that will lend it to, we give the payments in 3 tranches. So you'll get the first payment will be that first week of the program, then mid-program, and then once you've completed the program is the final stipend. There is no stipulations on what you spend the $20,000 on. So if you are looking to use that to take care of housing and accommodations, that's totally fine.
Yep, well answered.
Thank you.
All right, and I think our last question, Edgewood Outfitters.
Hi, I'm Gabby. I'm the founder of Edgewood Outfitters with me, my best friend. My first question is, on the application, it was talking about additional documents. What kind of things, like what supporting documents would you recommend us putting? Like news articles about our business if we were in the news, or like, do you want business plan, or like what kind of things would you suggest?
Yeah, so again, another great question. So we're not looking to necessarily, unlike an investor would say, hey, I want your deal room that has all of those. I would say for this, what other documents would make this application compelling to somebody looking at it and considering you for the next, cohort? So yes, press releases, things like that would be helpful. We don't need a business plan. We really, it's just anything else that you think would help us in our decision making.
Okay, cool. And my other second part of the question was, I don't know if I missed it because it was like 10 minutes late in the meeting, but my other question was, what can we expect during the virtual meetings? Like, do they have like someone talking and like slides, or what can we just so I know like what to expect?
Sure. So it kind of it varies. We try a lot of things, and we might switch up sometimes in the middle of the cohort depending on feedback, but we try sometimes we'll have panels, sometimes we'll have the cohort themselves talking, sometimes we'll have alumni coming in and presenting. It kind of just depends on the subject. You might have storytelling of some, you might have like in that session kind of a workshop type session. So it really depends. Kind of it's very diverse.
And one quick side question, on the additional documents, could we post something like a little video or something if we made for the business, or like kind of explaining the business?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Okay. And I think Glenna, do we have that anyway as part of the?
Yep, there's a section for you to upload videos and have that. You'll have a team video, and then you'll have like explaining your company.
Okay.
And Sadie, again, my apologies. Yeah, to answer your question, yeah, I mean, with respect to the supplemental info, I think that yeah, partnership letters of support. I mean, it's not mandatory, but sure, anything like that helps for sure.
Awesome. I think we are at, I guess, a little over time. Paul, did you have any last thoughts or comments or?
No, I think, again, I just appreciate everybody's questions, great questions. I want to respect everyone's time, which is why we're going to go ahead and end it. But any additional questions, feel free to ask Glenna, and then we can respond accordingly. But really look forward to seeing y'all's applications come through, and I wish you, your teams, and your families the best over the holidays.
Thank you all. Thanks for coming. Great meeting you.
Take care.